A very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Ayman Amir, and I'm the Director of Professional Development for the Rotaract Club of Colombo Regent for the year 2022 and 2023. So, on behalf of the club, I warmly welcome everyone to the email professionalism workshop done in partnership with Demo. So, to start off the session, we have a short video from Demo.
Brightening homes and lighting up cities across the length and breadth of our land. Building the foundations of a newer nation and reshaping our landscape for the better. Placing world-class tools and equipment in the hands of our people. Empowering a nation to move ahead with confidence and hope. Creating a new generation with new knowledge, the forerunners of our future. A prestigious partner for all your triumphant journeys through life. Redefining our people's quality of life with world-renowned brands that are the best at what they do. Serving you with standards that go above and beyond, bringing new meaning to professionalism and perfection. Helping create a healthier people and nation through cutting-edge medical technology. Applauding performance and celebrating victory under one flag as one nation. Growing the bounty of our earth so that our nation reaps a bountiful harvest from every seed sown. Building on our heritage of turning water into life by using every precious drop for the enrichment of our land, of our economy. Providing a foundation of service and security as our skyline reaches for the stars. Taking the high road that leads to trust, letting you travel through life with assurance. Helping to power the nation towards economic prosperity. Serving our land and its needs, even beyond our shores. Moving rail transportation to the next level. Raising the flag of excellence through an extensive family of professionals. Bringing in the best of the world for the betterment of our country. Gathering laurels and accolades in everything we do, with honor at our core. A distinctive vision that helped re-engineer the future of a promising nation and still continues to do so. Keeping our flag flying high by providing world-class technological solutions to the nation. Demo, fueling dreams and aspirations.
Without further ado, let me introduce our guest speaker for the day, Ms. Swati Kandaya. She is the Assistant Manager, Employer Branding, Diversity and Inclusion at Demo. So without any further ado, Swati, it's all yours.
Thank you, Amir. So a very good afternoon to all of you. I know we've taken about 16 minutes already. So like Amir mentioned, I'm Swati from Demo. I'm attached to the HR division, and my specialization is employer branding and diversity and inclusion. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to Rotaract for coming forward with this partnership. I really hope today will be a productive session. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right in. Let me just share my screen. Have we enabled screen sharing?
Yes, Ms. Swati, the screen sharing functionality is enabled.
Yes, thanks. Okay. I hope you can all view my screen.
Yes, it's visible. Thank you.
Perfect. So today we will be talking about email professionalism, also known as etiquette, we call it. So this is nothing new, not rocket science. These are mostly things that you already know, but it's a refresher session because email has become such an important and easy way of communicating, especially in a professional setup, right? You send multiple emails on a daily basis while you're at work, while you're on the go. Sometimes you use your phone to send emails. You email like clients, customers, even friends and family, right? But especially coming from a professional point of view, it is really a lot that you have to deal with. Like half of your day gets spent on reading and replying to emails. So it's very important that you learn, the finer points, the details, and the significance of it, right? So I'm expecting this to be an interactive session. There are questions that I will pose to you, and I would love to see all of your faces. So if you can have your cameras turned on, that would be great as well. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and just, pop the question. And you also have about 10-15 minutes time towards the latter bit of today's session to ask any questions. So moving forward. Right, so what is email etiquette anyways? So to simply put, it's basically the use of appropriate language to show your recipient that you care about your relationship, right? And that you value your professional integrity and that you positively represent the company that you're working for, right? So to simply put, email professionalism or email etiquette is the use of appropriate language to maintain strong relationships with, the people you're conversing with, right? So before we go into the major rules and pro tips, there are a few important and also simple things that I want to establish. So firstly, there are two types of emails. There is formal emails and there are informal emails. So this is a little activity. It's very simple. Again, I have just posted here topics of different emails, and I want you to tell me differentiate between formal and informal emails. Now, please ignore my dog barking at the background. This is what happens when you have to do presentations and trainings from home. So can we have few volunteers, please? What do you think of, message to a friend on a social networking site, is it formal or informal? Quickly.
It's informal.
It's informal. Can I have your name, please? Just tell me like, hi, I am Swati and I think this is whatever, because I can't see you all. Right, anyways, thank you. So what do you think is email to a customer?
It's formal.
Thank you, Clive. Birthday greetings to a colleague. So colleague is someone that you work with in a professional setup. What do you think? Speed up, guys. I mean, you know these, right? Anyone?
Formal?
Very, sorry?
Formal?
No, it's actually informal. Birthday greetings to a colleague. It's birthday greetings. You don't usually send birthday greetings to like colleagues in email. If it's a client and if it's an important client and you want to acknowledge their birthday, sometimes you send an email, but that doesn't, this doesn't become formal. Thank you anyways, Amir. So job application, you're applying to a job. You're expressing your interest. Formal. Email to your manager. You're emailing to your manager about something.
Formal.
Thank you, Aisha. So email to a colleague who is also a good friend.
Informal.
Great. Okay, I think it's just Aisha now who's going to respond, guys. What is this? But anyways, I'm not going to stop you. So yeah, so on and so forth. Just so I've just listed down these things. It's not restricted to only this, but like these are the obvious ones, right? So formal emails can be email to a customer, a job application, an email to your manager, a complaint when you're making a formal complaint to a shop or an organization or company, an email from one company to another, right? And then there is informal, a birthday greeting to a colleague, an email to a colleague who is also a good friend, social invitation to a friend at your workplace, an email with a link to a funny YouTube clip, a message to a friend on a social networking site, right? So these are the basics. So you need to always know there is a difference between formal and informal emails, okay? So it's also very important to know these things. Now, I know you already may have access to emails and you might know these things already, but this is just to, again, a teaser to test your knowledge. So it's important that you play around these softwares to identify which email goes where, so that you know how to trace your emails, important emails, right? So organizing your email saves times and makes life easy. So again, there are some fill in the blanks, and I'm going to read it out loud, and I'm going to need some volunteers to actually tell me what these, words will be. So most emails that you get go straight to your blank. Couldn't get simpler, right?
Spam.
Inbox.
Inbox. Okay, see, we think we know it all. I mean, it's completely fine. Safe space, no judgment. So please interact. As long as you interact, that's what's important. This is where you decide which emails to read and which to delete. But if your server doesn't recognize the address of the sender, it will probably put the email in the blank mail folder. Where's a spammer?
Yeah, I guess that's spam.
Yeah. This is where all those annoying adverts usually go. But sometimes good emails go there too. So remember to check this folder from time to time. So sometimes when you're getting an email from another company, although they are you're working with them, it might get directed to your spam because your email host is not familiar with this domain or email address. So it's important when someone has sent you an email and probably is calling and asking you, oh, did you receive my email? And you're like, no, but my inbox is empty. Like, I've read everything. It's important then to just go and double check your spam to see if this email has been directed to your spam. So moving on, do you ever worry because you just deleted an email by mistake? Don't worry, just look in the blank folder. It's probably still there. Can I have some answers? Sorry?
Bin?
Bin, recycle bin, trash, deleted folder. Recycle bin is not usually used in emails. It's there in your computer, but it could be bin, trash, or deleted folder. Thank you. Sometimes it can be difficult to find an old email. So why not put them into blank to make them easy to find? You get so many emails. Labels, yeah, almost there. Labels of folders. So in Gmail, you can label them. In some other like Outlook and etc. other email providers, you can actually create folders. So it filters all the emails. For example, if you're receiving emails constantly from this one email address, you can folder it so that you know all the emails that you get from this one person or this organization is there in this folder. So you don't have to like dump, go into looking for your entire inbox. Moving on, you can do this for any emails you wrote to. You can find them in emails that you wrote.
Sent.
Draft.
Sent folder.
It's a bit confusing, right?
How about drafts?
No, it's sent.
Oh.
Yes. So it's so the last one is actually draft. Have you ever found it difficult to finish writing an email? Don't worry, just save it under draft and finish it later. Right? So that's about it. And moving on to another few key areas. Now, most of us again know this, but like, it might be useful to some of you. So obviously in your to tab, you're going to fill in the email address of the person you're sending this email to. And then from will be your email address, CC, carbon copy. When you want to send a message to someone and have someone else informed of this communication, you copy them in your CC tab, right? So for example, my skip level supervisor. So I have my manager and then I have my director. My director is asking for, the monthly review meeting minutes from me, okay? So I'm sending it directly to the director, keeping my manager in copy so that my manager knows that I have done this, right? Although it's the director who requested for this, I report first to my manager and, to keep things transparent, which is very important in professional setups, right? But at the same time, there can be people who copy like the entire team, like a gazillion other people unnecessarily. Don't do that. Don't spam other people's inboxes with your emails, right? So copy only the people who are relevant to this message. So think about who you're sending it to, who this is relevant to, right? Then BCC, blind carbon copy, a group of people to whom the single email is sent but cannot view the other recipients. Now say that you want to send an invitation for an event to like 50 people, right? And you don't want to put them in, two, because when you do that, when they receive their email, they'll get this. First of all, what they can see is all these 50 email addresses that you have sent to, and then only your message, right? So that's what happens when you just CC or, include bulk email addresses in the to or CC tabs. Instead, you put them in your blind carbon copy tab so that all of them will get their single message and will not know who else has received this email. So you can also do this for like sneaky things, but avoid being sneaky and just, use it professionally. So subject, it's the mini summary or purpose of your email. So it's very important for your subject to reveal, in a good email, your subject must reveal what this email is all about. As soon as you read the subject, you should know what this is going to be about, right? Okay, so any questions until now? Okay, I'll take silence as, acceptance or like, and okay. So moving on to the rules of thumb, right? So these are things that you should keep in your mind whenever you're writing professional emails, right? So that it's all well put together and you don't have to worry about any mistakes, right? So the first rule of thumb here is to use a professional email address, right? Now, why these rules are important is because, especially in a professional setup, when you're sending emails to clients and your potential employers, sometimes, they expect a certain formality from you, right? So before I actually talk about email addresses, I'll tell you something. Now, for example, when you've gone through like 2 interviews and you're waiting for the final call for them to give you a green light, it's been successful, right? So you're sending your potential employer a follow-up email. Now, in this follow-up email, if you by mistake make spelling or grammatical errors, chances are that your candidacy will be overlooked, right? If this person cannot put together a simple email, how are they going to manage this role, right? So you'll be swept out, and we do not want that, right? So that is why email etiquette is very important. So it's always important to have a professional email address when engaging in business emails. Now, you don't want to, give away too much about who you are, your hobby. In your email, people have like, for example, sarahsings@gmail.com or, Michael Magician at, hotmail.com. Like, that's not what we want to know, right? What people want to know in your email address, the single piece of information, is your name, right? So make that eminent, make that clear. Okay, so if my name is Swati Kandaya, I'm not going to use these email addresses like swati1961@gmail.com, Swati rocks. Now, I know I rock, but I don't have to tell the world that I rock. They can learn it for themselves, right? My name is Swati@hotmail.com. These are things that we read on a daily basis when we review CVs of applicants. When we say, email your CV to careers@demolanka.com, and we have these, really funny email addresses. And what we think is we judge the person as soon as we read their email address and when it reads like funny or, reveals their hobby, right? So instead, keep it simple, keep it to your name. So you can include either your first name or your last name, or first name and last name. Avoid including Swati K. Now, Kandaya is my, surname. So when you say K Swati, sometimes people read it as one. So it can be confusing. So don't use initials also. Just stick to your first name or your first name and your last name. It's more, it will be more clear if you can say Swati, full stop, Kandaya, and avoid using underscores and all the other punctuations that we see, right? Secondly, use a clear subject line, right? Now I explained this earlier as well, because it reveals important piece of information that makes your recipient, judge your email and decide whether this needs immediate attention. So people will be reading your subject line and coming into a conclusion saying, should I reply to this email? Should I even open this email right now? Or can I come back to it after like 5 days, right? So make it clear, okay? So try to consider who you are writing to. What their role is and, all their responsibilities, right? And why you're writing this email, what is the goal of your email? So it's simple, just have an action plan, right? Have a call to action in your email, in the subject line of your email, so that it's clear what the other person has to do, right? So you're also stating the purpose and you're, just revealing a call to action that they have to take after reading this email, right? So they'll come prepared. Okay, so there is a little bit of an example here. So if you're interviewing for a job, the subject line of an email may look something like job application for graphic designer, Swati Kandaya. So if I am the employer, when I look at it, I know this is a job application for what position and who's applying, right? 3 pieces of information. And the same again, you can have it reversed. Senel Pereira, application for senior architect position, right? It's said that it's always important to restrict your subject, the words in your subject line, to 8 or less than 8 words. Don't overload information. Don't write your entire email, summarize your entire email in your subject line. It's going to put people off, right? So keep it simple and concise and very direct, right? Third rule of thumb, ensure your tone of voice is professional. Now, this is a very, very, very important, right? Now, yes, even in professional setups, you can meet people that you don't like. You can have organizations that may come off offensive in their language sometimes, but it's important that you know what is right and always be professional, right? Even if you're very angry and typing an angry email and you want to let them know that you're disappointed, keep it pleasant. Do not go, it's a fine line between being pleasant and then, showing that, they've basically gotten the devil in you, right? So keep that to aside, be direct, be formatted, right? Have a format, right? Your introduction, your body, your conclusion, your call to action, your signature, etc. Refrain from getting too friendly. Now, even if the recipient of this email in a professional setup, now, for example, say, I am sending an email to Clive or Amir, and I know them personally and they're good friends, but still I cannot be too casual or friendly and be like, hey, Amir, can we catch up for a quick call tomorrow at this time? That is not good email etiquette, but you have to keep it very, very professional. Why I'm saying this is often in your professional setups, in your companies, you will be given a professional email address, right? And why you're given this is to let the other person know that you're from this company. So the professional email address will have a domain name. Now, for example, my professional email address is swati.kandaya@demolanka.com. So if I send an email to anyone, people know that I'm from Demo, right? And in case of any misconduct or, anything, the company has sole discretion to go through your emails, right? It's the companies, because it's professional, it is the organizations. So please avoid, friendly or like any, conversations that you want to have with your friends, have it offline, in other social media platforms or from your personal emails, and not using your professional email address. And avoid abbreviated phrases like, please respond to this email ASAP, or, to be honest, TBH. Avoid abbreviated phrases. They're good for WhatsApps and Twitter and IG and whatnot, but not in your professional setting. And avoid use of emojis. Now, apparently, although this available is, the option of using emojis is available in any email host like Outlook or Gmail, everything. It might be very tempting to, send like a congratulations with like a clapping hand or like a smiley face when you're, saying something interesting, something new, something happy, because that's what we're used to, right? Like we use a lot of emojis to express how we're feeling of professional setups. So in here, avoid that. Just be direct, simple, and use a professional tone of language. So a quick example into what this looks like is an example, which is right here. So it reads, "Dear Miss Katia, are you available to meet on Wednesday at 2 p.m. to discuss your payment plan? Please respond at your earliest convenience. I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you soon. Warmly, Diana Gar." So here, Diana has really kept it direct, simple, concise. She has a call to action, right? She's gotten into the point by saying, "Are you available to meet on this date?" She's also suggesting a date and time so that, you know, you're not being vague and you're not like letting them wander around. "Oh, now when do I meet? Do I have to look at the whole of my calendar, the whole of my week, and, you know, really pick?" We are giving them an option, right? So makes life easier. You know, again, then the call to action is, "Please respond at your earliest convenience," and you're ending it with a note of gratitude, which goes a long way, right? "I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you soon." So even when you're applying for job applications, it's good to say, I appreciate your time in reviewing my application. So, you know, you can use such phrases to project gratitude, which is a very positive thing to use in professional emails. Number 4, avoid grammar, spelling mistakes, and missing attachments. Now, really, nobody really like goes into the details of looking for spelling or grammar mistakes, but if there's an obvious one, that will really put people off. Like, think about it. Think about the last time that you saw a public, a publication, a professional publication or a blog that had a spelling mistake or a grave like grammar mistake or whatever. And how did you feel about it? What did you perceive about that particular brand? And now think about what will happen. What will people think when you make the same mistake in a professional email? Okay. And you don't want to come across as that person, right? So it's very important to proofread. Now, this is also a very easy thing to do. It won't take a lot of time. It's very, very simple. That is why this is also usually easily forgotten about, right? When you're in a hurry, when you want to get things done, you just put things together quickly, and then hit send. Boom, that's it, right? And then there is no looking back. Okay, so start with the attachments. If your email requires an attachment, it's always effective and efficient to just attach your file first, because you don't want to send that second email saying, "Oops, please find the attachment which was meant to be sent in the earlier email," right? So don't do that. And check the recipient's name. Are you spelling it right? Right? Have you given the right title? If it's Mr. or Miss or Captain or Professor or, Doctor. Then be clear and concise and grammatically correct in your subject line, right? That's also very important. And then spelling and punctuation in your email body. Now, this text might be chunkier, so take your time to go through where your commas should be, where your semicolons or colons should be, what you should put in like dot points or point form, bullets, and what you shouldn't, and have very good paragraphing. Don't send, if you're writing a long email because it has to be informative, don't send one big chunky paragraph. Please break it into paragraphs. Paragraphing is very, very important. Okay, and make sure that you use an up-to-date signature, right? So depending on the person that you're writing to, the details in your signature can vary. Or if you're writing from, a professional email, you can have like set default signature, which has details about your name, your designation, your, where you work, email addresses, phone numbers, fax, and etc. Okay, so we will look at now the parts of an email in detail in the next coming slides, and then jump back to rule number 5. Okay. Okay, firstly, the first important bit of a great email is greetings. Your greeting should be professional and concise. It is always preferable to address the recipient using their name, but it may not always be possible, right? If you're emailing to Great Place to Work at, Sri Lanka.com, or if you're replying to careers@demolanka.com, it doesn't reveal a person's name. So you don't know who you're writing to. In that case, you can opt to, greetings like good day to you, or, specifically if you're writing to a careers portal or careers email, always go with the safest greeting, that is, dear recruitment manager. Okay. And you can say greetings, or if you know the name, then, and if this is a person that you really don't know, this is the first time you're writing to them, then it's important, it's safe to always go by the surname, right? So you say, dear Miss or Mr. surname, Pereira or Kandai or whatever. But if you have met them socially or professionally, then you can stick with the first name. So dear, and then the title, and then first name, okay? And again, if you don't know the gender of the person, it's always safe to write dear sir or dear madam, right? Okay. So a brief pleasantry. What is pleasantry, right? Your opening sentence, building a connection with the reader, indicates how you connect, right? This reminder will give the reader context for the following information. So this is your introduction, right? So it was great to meet you at last night's networking event, when you're reflecting from an event or a conversation that you already engaged in earlier. It could be a phone call, it could be an interview, it could be a networking event, etc. You can phrase it like this. If you've received something from the recipient, offer your thanks. It could be a thank you for an offer of assistance, for an interesting piece of content they shared, or even simply reading the email. You're again showing gratitude for them taking the time to read your email. So then you can use phrases like, thank you for sharing your article on management strategies. The findings are valuable. I appreciate you taking the time to help me with this project. And if you want to keep it general, just, leave it with warm well wishes. It will be, I hope you're well. So I hope you're keeping well. I hope you're keeping, maintaining a positive morale amidst the COVID pandemic, or amidst the economic crisis, right? So you're acknowledging the person's, situation, or, the struggle that they're going through. That builds compassion, right? Then you have the purpose, the one thing rule. Now stick to like one important message, one key messaging in your email. Don't talk about the whole agenda that you have in mind, right? Because then the attention will be lost, and emails are meant to be brief, right? You're not gonna write like 2-3 A4s of messages here. So keep it concise and keep it to one, purpose, one messaging at a time. Each email should address just one thing, one purpose. This task, request, or information should be presented clearly and directly after the pleasantry. So you have your intro, and then you have the, purpose line. Be concise and direct. Don't hide your request, or it can easily be overlooked or ignored. Right? So the phrases could be, please provide your feedback on the budget. Can you participate in the project kickoff meeting next Thursday? Did you have any revisions to the final report? Or like the example we saw, are you available for a call on Wednesday at 2 p.m.? Right to the point, right? So if you want to give additional information, then that you will include in your third paragraph, right? So some business emails may require additional information for the reader. It could be clarification on the task, a link to resources or examples, or other helpful information. This information should be included thoughtfully, only directly relevant to the content, of your email should be added here, right? So if you're, asking them if you're available on this date, please fill in your availability in this calendar, link the calendar, right? Or if you're inviting someone for an event, Then talk a little bit about what the event is in your third paragraph, right? So that is the additional information that we're talking about here. Then you have your call to action. Near the end of your email, include a specific call to action. So you're reflecting again, like the subject line, you're repeating what the purpose is, what you want them to do. The statement should include the specific action and the timeline. If you are sending the email to multiple people, clarify task responsibility by directly naming the intended person. So person A, do this, person B, send in these reports, etc. So that example could be, can you take care of this? Let me know what you think. Okay, those can come off as informal. Good examples would be, Sarah, can you forward the survey to all staff by Friday at noon, please? Or, I'd appreciate your feedback on the draft agenda. If you have any edits, please send them by tomorrow, Tuesday at 10 a.m. So concise call to action, you're giving them a timeline also, right? If you would like a confirmation, you can phrase the call to action as a question. If the call to action is a notification that does not necessarily require a reply, you can structure the call to action as a statement, okay? Closing message. The closing message simply indicates that the email is complete, right? Now you come to the part where you show gratitude, for them taking your time, for them being involved in this, for them being willing to take part in your event, for their interest in your company if they're applying for, a job position or anything. So the closing message simply indicates that the email is complete. While it is not a requirement in modern email writing, a brief, polite phrase will nicely round out your email. And like I mentioned before, a little bit of gratitude goes a long way. So do your thank yous here. Thank you for your time. I look forward to your response. Include a closing phrase before you sign off, like kind regards, best regards, warmly, sincerely, etc. So these signing, phrases like faithfully, truly, keep it to your letters, right? Mostly emails go with these closing phrases like kind regards, best regards, warmly, etc. Okay, so the final part of a great email is the sign-off and your signature, right? In your professional setup, like I mentioned before, you have to have your signature updated. Now, this is an example of my signature here. So since, given the background of the organization, given the background of people you interact with, you need to give them a lot of information because they might come back to you with, facts, or they might want to call you, or they might want to visit the website, right? Or they might want to send something over courier or post. So just give all those information. Again, don't overload it. Sometimes what some people do, especially freelancers, right? I've seen them including a whole bunch of all the designations, all the multiple designations you have, all your titles, if you're an attorney at law, if you have an MBA, if you have a BSc in something, not necessary. Don't include your educational background here. That is not necessary at all. Okay, keep it simple. You can just sign off with your name, your designation, your company. That's good enough. But if you think the recipient needs an option to come back to you for a quick call to clarify things that you've written in your email, then it's good to share a contact as well. Okay, so rule number 5, reply as promptly as you can. Okay, especially for clients and other organizations, especially if you're being invited for something. If you keep ignoring the message, you will give the message that you're not interested in this, right? That's how your sender will interpret it, right? So if it's anything pressing, if it's anything urgent, do respond to your email promptly. Take a step back. Okay, before I go into the second point, take some time off at work. Now, if you work from 8 to 5, maybe keep the first hour or the last hour for responding to emails, so that you know you've gone, because it might be cumbersome to be, writing emails throughout your workday while you also have other responsibilities. So keep that 1 hour at the beginning or at the end to respond to everything that you have to. Now, especially me being, OCD, I have to have my inbox clear all the time. So I'm quite prompt with my email responses. So now, if it's something, on the other hand, a little contradictory, right? When you have to give feedback about something, which needs time for you to read, when you have to respond to a complicated conversation, a heated up conversation, where you also have to maintain your, composure, you have to be pleasant and all of that, it needs a little more time for you to actually structure that conversation. And when you receive an unexpected news, bad or good, right, you need to take a step back, take some time off, right, and maybe even put points together, like key points down, draft something, read like 5 times, and then go ahead with responding to it. Again, it doesn't give you any excuses to keep your email waiting in your inbox for over like 1 or 2 days. Just make it a point to respond to even these controversial emails within a day or 2 days maximum. And a little bit of a pro tip here, if you are going to take time off of work, so say you're going to go on a holiday, then make sure to set an out of office reply message. Now, in all your email hosts like Gmail or Outlook, you have this option in your settings to actually write a default email and keep alarming your senders that you're out of your office and you don't have access to your email at the minute, and that you will be back to work on this date, right? Especially when you're working, sometimes it might even be like a work trip that you've taken or a training program, like an in-person 4-day workshop. So then you have to keep your senders informed, because again, like I said before, you don't reply promptly, they might interpret different other things, right? So in this out of office email, it's again important to also include emergency contacts. So since you're absent, in your absence, who can they contact for this urgent piece of information, right? So maybe include, again, with consent, a contact number and name of your colleague, your manager, so that your senders can reach out to them regarding any urgent information, right? Moving on to the final rule, right? Rule number 6, adjust your undo send settings. Now, there has been a lot of times, I've learned this through experience, where I've sent an email, sometimes a company-wide email, and instantly regretted having, sent that email because there is a typo, or, I've missed the attachment, or, it's not highlighted, it's not something that should be in bold, is not bold. And, now that I've sent the email, it's already gone. So we all get into, very tight, uncomfortable situations like this. And there is a way to avoid this, right? So in all your email hosts, email providers, interfaces, you have the option of canceling the send option, right? So for example, in Gmail, if you click on the gear or settings icon on the top right corner of your screen, from there, you will see all settings option. Again, click on that. And if you scroll down the page, you will see an option to change the send cancellation period. So there you can, set 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. So it'll give you a little pop-up message saying undo. So you can just, after you send your email, just go and click on undo, do the changes, and then send it right back to the recipient. Okay. So most email hosts have this setting. So make sure to check that out so that you don't have an email oops, right? So actually, that brings us to the very end of today's program. I wanted it to be, again, very clear, concise, and packed with information as well. Because like I said before, these are things that we already know, but we need a refresher on this to actually, realize that when you're sending emails in a professional setup specifically, to double check. So I hope all of you understood this, and if you have any questions, I can take the questions now. So any question, I'd be happy to. Yes, Clive.
I was wondering, when you don't know for example, say you sent a letter to a particular company and you don't know the person's name. You did mention if you can just mention the title, right? But say you don't know the title, should you just say dear recruiter or dear sir/madam?
Yeah, so if you're sending in a job application, that's what I mentioned, it's always safe to say dear recruitment manager, because anyone who's going to read your CV or your job application first will be the recruitment manager. So just simply say that, and you're not in the pothole anymore.
Right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Any other questions?
I have one question. So sometimes, usually when I don't know who I'm emailing to, I would say to whom it may concern. I always felt that it was a little bit too rude, but I'm just wondering if that's normal.
Right. So to whom it may concern is a good greeting to use when you're writing a letter, when you're writing a formal letter, and not so much on emails. It's rude. It is rude to say to whom it may concern. I mean, you would have done it without knowing, this, but refrain from saying that. Don't use that phrase. Instead, now, for example, sometimes interestingly, we have access to a lot of information, right? Especially if you're writing to like the Secretary General of a ministry, right? Just go look up on the ministry's website, look up to the name, like they would have given information about their people. So the chairman, or director or Secretary General, and the name will definitely be there. So get the name from there, and then write your title based on that.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, you can anyways come back to me if you have any questions related to this. You can reach out to me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to send me a LinkedIn connection, and I'll be happy to accept your connection to my network, and we can converse about this there too. But yes, I'm open to questions here as well. Maybe we'll wait for 2 more minutes, and we could then wrap up the session.
Hi, so does anyone have any more questions? Right, so thank you, Swati. I would like to introduce Rotractor Aisha Nizam to deliver the word of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know me, Secretary of Colombo Regent. And on behalf of Colombo Regent, I am very, very glad to express the word of thanks. A special thanks to our speaker and mentor today, Ms. Kandaya, for accepting, firstly, the invitation and being so swift with the coordination and responses. So glad. I also really want to thank Demo, the team, for partnering up with us for the second consecutive year. So it's wonderful to always be working with you. And in terms of this session, this refresher session has been super insightful. I know, like you said, these are things that we generally know, but having this session and, putting us through all of this, especially that undo setting. I didn't know about it. So cool. It's a lifesaver, of course. So I really, really want to thank you for, bringing us together and, putting us through this session. Honestly, it was absolutely insightful. I also want to thank our PD director, Rotaract Ayman Amir, and the PR team for working so well with this and coordinating and making up all the PR related materials. Thank you guys so much. And finally, I really want to thank our members for joining in. I really hope you guys did learn so much and really will take a lot from what Swasti had given to us today. So yeah, back to you, Ayman.
Right, thank you, Aisha. I think we can conclude the workshop now.
Great, thank you, team. Thanks, Aisha, for that vote of thanks, and thank you everyone for having joined today. I really hope you found this session productive and useful. Like I said before, if you have any questions, feel free to connect with me in my social media. Thank you. Have a good